This call is now being recorded.
So is my screen is visible? Okay, it's coming. Yeah, so good evening and welcome to all of you. We are celebrating the National Mathematics Day in collaboration with Global Teachers Forum and All India Educators Forum, AIEF. And we have the Matthew sir present here. Welcome you, sir, and thank you for giving me such wonder opportunity always. This is our day 2, and we are talking about demystifying the CBSE class 10th mathematics curriculum. And please note, we are in one or the another way associated with CBSE, but that doesn't mean we know the paper, we know the exact kind of all things. It's just based on our experience, based on the sample papers released by CBSE. We'll be definitely talking about that, and we need your expertise also. So give me a second. Okay, so my name is Amit Bajaj, and I'm the founder and leader of Google Educator Group, GG Daily West. I'm a Google for Education certified trainer, CBSE resource person, AIEF Global Ambassador, and working as a senior maths educator in CRP Public School, Delhi, India. So very quickly, we'll be talking about CBSE Class 10 Blueprint and Weightage, unit-wise and chapter-wise bifurcation. Please note that CBSE never do the bifurcation chapter wise. It is again based on our experience, the way the CBSE is releasing its sample paper, the previous year papers, some kind of the chapter wise weightage bifurcation is being done. But by CBSE, clearly obvious with us that we have number system carrying the 6 marks, algebra carrying 20 marks, contains a lot of different chapters. We'll be covering that. Then coordinate geometry 6 marks, geometry 15, frigo 12, mensuration 10, and stats and probability 11. So that is one thing which is sure, that in number system it will be exactly coming for the 6 marks. So it may be your 1 plus 5, it may be your 2 plus something like that, but it will be exactly equal to 6. So this total amounts to our 80 marks. So when I talk about the math standard, so I'm sure a lot of you are teaching both math standard and maths basic. Our main focus will be on math standard, but yes, at the same time, we'll be quickly talking about maths basic. Very first thing, I think everyone is clear about this. The teaching methodologies is same. Even we talk about standard or the basic maths, curriculum is same, right? The weightage pattern, everything is same. It is just said that the paper is little bit easier in basic in comparison to the standard paper. That's the only difference. But sometimes even you must have observed the basic few questions were little bit difficult than it came in the standard. So that may always happen. A question may be easier for someone and it may be tough for the another one. So that may always happen. Based on the CBSE official sample papers which were released, this is one of the blueprint which is prepared. For number system, we have simply one chapter, real numbers. I'll be directly coming to this, so carrying the 6 marks. But when we talk about algebra, so it contains these 4 chapters: polynomials, pair of linear equations in 2 variables, quadratic, and AP. So based on the sample paper, a simple judgment can be done that polynomials 4 marker, pair of linear equation 4 marker, quadratic 6 marks, and AP 6 mark. Again, total is 20. It may then change. So quadratic may come for say 4 mark, and linear equation maybe come for the 6 marks. So such type of internal bifurcation of marks is always possible. Then we have coordinate geometry, simply carrying the 6 mark. followed by trigonometry, 2 chapters, intro to trigo, and applications of trigonometry in the form of height and distance. So that's simply your 12 marks. Then geometry, triangles and circles. So carrying a total weightage of 15. Generally, it is splitted like 8 plus 7. So it may be a different version as far. In mensuration, area related to circle, and then surface area and volume. So that will be total for 10 marks. Surface area and volume, generally we expect one question for the case study or maybe in a choice as well. Then we have stats and probability, total 11 marks. And stats, of course, takes more weightage, but sometimes probability even came from 3 mark or 4 mark as well. Same way, we have the bifurcation for basic mathematics. More or less is the same. I will not talk about this. And please note that a lot of things which I'm going to share with you right now, I'll be sharing the presentation, 90% of the presentation with you. A drive link will be shared with you so that you can easily able to download that presentation later on. But even if you wish, you can take always the screenshot, is your choice. Now here you can see the comparison table, right? Wherein I have simply have the standard and the basic. More or less, real number, of course, 6 and 6 marks. Here you will see the one change. In standard, the linear equation for 4 mark, and in basic, it is mentioned as for the 6 marker as per the sample paper. So as already mentioned, there may be a little bit bifurcation, but the total of algebra will still remains 20. So 10th curriculum की जब हम बात करते हैं, now I think everyone is very clear about this. We'll go through that very quickly. Real numbers में we have the fundamental theorem of arithmetic, and then mainly it's about SCF LCM based problem followed by the proofs of irrationality of root 2, root 3, root 5. So one question, generally it is expected, the direct kind of a question means even every student कहता रटना करवा देना. So root 2, root 3, root 5 का irrationality. Also we have the questions like prove that 3 plus 5 root 2 is irrational. So therein we consider root 2 as already irrational, and we have a simple approach to do that. So I will not be focusing on the solution part, but what type of questions are very important. So this is one of the simple type. And of course, now everyone is clear that, but I'll be quickly mentioning the deleted portion. But now there is no confusion. Euclid division lemma and decimal representation. Let me once check out the chat and if there is any question to be answered. Yeah, the blueprint and that will be shared with you. No worries about that. Okay, so any question coming to your mind? I have turned on your microphone for a minute. Only one person if would like to add on. Real numbers may, if you have any question to be asked. Okay, so yeah, is someone asking? Chaliye, let's move on to the next chapter. Then, yeah, please. Yes. I could see few hand raised. Deepika ji, Tanvi ji. You can unmute yourself.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, Tanvi ji, yes.
Okay, sir. Can students get to prove root 5 plus root 2 is irrational? Double root questions.
See, I haven't seen that in any of the sample papers. Have you seen that? or in any of the board examination past 2 years?
Not at
No,
all,
in
sir. Not at all.
not
Not at all.
not
Yeah.
in sample papers, but otherwise, in general, in sample
Tan-
papers, I have seen.
Tanvi
So,
ma'am,
See,
Tanvi
yeah.
ma'am, past 5 years, this type of question is not asked.
Okay.
yeah, and it will not be asked because this is little bit tricky and challenging. So
Hello,
please,
I'm Andrew
Yeah.
Tate, and you are a fucking nigger. Instead of picking cotton, how about you pick up some women, you fat ass nigger?
this is really very, very annoying and difficult situation when we have the people like this. They enter in the meeting of education and they create nuisance. But anyway, Matthew sir, can you please take care of that and keep these people out of it? If you can, please just notice. Please stop sending the emojis. So kindly bear with me just for one more minute. I'm really sorry, but I will not allow anyone to speak and to write any in the chat box. So please note down your questions and you can always ask me later on. This is very, very difficult situation. I cannot allow because I don't know, even the Indian name people, they are creating a mess over here. So a few people really wanted to join the call, but now I am not allowing them. So please keep your questions ready with you, और अगर कोई भी आपको doubt है, you can always ask later on. So let me know the polynomials, pair of linear equations in two variables, quadratic equations, and arithmetic progression. As far as polynomials is concerned, generally there is no confusion. Zeros of polynomial, relationship between zeros and coefficient of quadratic polynomial. One such question for every student at least that's really expected. Relationship between zero and coefficient of quadratic polynomials. And then we have equations in two variables. So therein we have one thing, the graphical method. Earlier there was a trend from the graphical method. We were every year expecting a question, but now if the trend is changed, not in every region we are getting the graphical method solution, but yes, algebraic condition or solutions is there. and then solution of pair of linear equations in two variable by substitution, elimination, and simple situational problems. Now, there is a little bit confusion as someone was mentioning in the beginning itself. When we talk about linear equations, word problems, first thing, we do not expect the question based on upstream and downstream, wherein the word problem is converted into the form of say 1 upon x plus y and then 1 upon say x minus y, and then the reducible methods are used. But you must have seen in the last year board paper and in one of the sample paper as well, a direct kind of a question. Likewise, 1 by root x plus 1 by root y is say 1 by 2. So such type of questions we can always expect. I will showing you the sample of such questions which are expected, and definitely the problem where reducible equations are to be framed using a word problem, they will not come. When we talk about quadratic equations, so we have a standard quadratic equation, its solution by factorization method and using the quadratic formula. So though the splitting of middle term is not there, but the teachers who are teaching in grade 12, they really find it very difficult and challenging. So please teach splitting the middle term as well as to your kids so that later on they will not suffer. Then we have the relationship between discriminant and nature of roots, followed by situational word problems based on quadratic equations related to day-to-day activities. So in quadratic equation, when we mention situational problems, so here we are referring to the word problems, and remember, you can expect the upstream downstream problems or the pipe and cistern problems, of course, over here. So that type of questions are always expected here. And in AP, we have a usual nth term and Sn formula followed by their word problem application of them in real life. As in the beginning, again, Matthew sir was also mentioning, there are the word problem, there are certain questions given in NCERT and mentioned as the optional exercise. So if we consider the new NCERT also, so we need to take care of all such questions which are coming up in the sample paper, and a similar type of a practice may be given, because there is no clear-cut bifurcation or demarcation that this will come or this will not come. So it is always advisable to have prepare your student a level ahead. But yes, if it's an average student, simple type of questions, I'll be sharing that worksheet, the idea with you, what type of a question for average student, because while I was going through the form filled by you, a lot of us have only concern about the weak student, the low achievers. Earlier, there used to be a trend. We were looking at 80 out of 80. But now our main concern is shifted to getting those students pass who have taken maths, but they are post-COVID, they are not working well. There's a learning gap. So how to work upon that? So there are certain strategies. I'll be quickly sharing that also. So there is no confusion about polynomials mein, pair of linear equation, quadratic mein. So I'll skip that. Then in coordinate geometry, we have a concept of coordinate, graph of linear equations, and then distance and section formula. So usual type of problems are expected over here. Area of a triangle is of course not in the syllabus, but again, it is expected that if you teach, that's always great, because students again need the same topic in class 11th. Next, when we talk about triangles, so triangles ke case mein, check this out. We have all the theorems wherein the proof is written. If there is a word written as proof, so only 3 theorems are there whose proof may be asked in the examination. It is a common experience that out of these 3, the first one, which is our simple BPT, and the theorem number 2 over here at the bottom, the length of tangents drawn from the external point to the circle are equal. So these 2 type of questions, theorems, they are well expected in the examination in journal. Then the theorem wherein it's written as motivate. In that case, the question based on those theorem can come. we had the idea of areas of similar triangles. We had the ideas of Pythagoras theorem. Again, these two topics are deleted and you do not expect now the question based on them, right? But again, if one period is devoted to teach such topics, if time permits, that's okay. And that to the, high achievers. I know there are a lot of questions over here, but it's very, very challenging for me to open the chat. Matthew sir, are you still here? Okay, so let me now move on further. So introduction to trigonometry and trigonometric identities. We have a simple problem based on 30 degree, 45 degree and 60 degrees. And we have trigonometric identities. Please note, it is clearly mentioned. Proof of an application of the identity. Sin square A plus cos square A is 1. So please note that we can always expect the proof of this identity, though it hasn't come board examination. I am not able to even recall for past 10, 12 years. It didn't come. But as far as the curriculum is concerned, it is clearly mentioned. So one should know how to prove this identity also. And then followed by simple identities based on them. So proving of those identities, but there is no clear-cut definition of simple identities. So we expect different type of questions as well. Some complicated identities are also there, showing you the samples soon. And then height and distance, the usual word problems having the angles of 30, 45 and 60 degree. And there are the questions where we talk about the cloud image valley problem. So such type of questions, or a distance covered, time speed is equal to distance upon time based problem. So such type of questions also need to be taken care of. Then we have area related to circle and surface area and volumes in mensuration. So area related to circles may check this out. Area of a sector and segments of a circle. So generally every year we have the question based on segments of a circle. So we generally had a question based on it. And then problem based on area and perimeter, circumference of these figure. And again, the central angle is restricted to 60 degree, 90 degree and 120 degree. Please note that we have a direct formula when the angle is 120 degree. So it's half r square sine 120 degree, wherein we use as 1/2. I personally suggest you to kindly avoid using that formula. Students should drop a perpendicular from the top angle so that 60 degree and basic trigonometry is used, because that formula, not every examiner, the paper checker, will appreciate that, because sine 120 degree is not taught at class 10th level. So we teach them that this is equal to half and we directly use that, but please avoid using that particular formula. In surface area and volume of combinations of figures like cube, cuboid, sphere, hemisphere, and right circular cylinder cones. So there is no confusion except right conversion of one form to the another form. So we do not find such questions, but if you see a river is running and then there is a water flow is there and then the water is accumulated over some place. So we had a questions like this. So therein also we are using the idea of conversion of one solid to another solid. So only the basic idea can be given related to that. In stats and probability, stats may generally there is no confusion. Mean, median, and mode or group data, that's in our syllabus. Some was one asking, we have a step deviation method. Yes, step deviation method is very much in the syllabus, and you can expect in the examination using step deviation method solve the following problem. So sometimes we have a direct type of a problem wherein we have to find the mean of a given table if it is a direct kind of a table. Otherwise, we need to subtract half and add half. You know the standard type of a problems. And then empirical formula based problem, that again in MCQ form generally one can expect. In probability, we have the classical definition of probability followed by simple problems on finding the probability of an event. So there is no limit, but yes, the card, see, it is not mentioned that the card problems are there, dice problems are there, but they definitely can come. But when we talk about, say, dice problem, only 2 dice based problem are there. In stats, of course, ogive or cumulative frequency graph is not in the syllabus. Okay, next is a few important question samples I'm showing you from last year board examination paper, including the questions from the compartment paper, and that's always very, very important. So please check out the compartment paper as well, and all 6 region papers. I'm sure you all must have gone through all 6 region papers as well. One thing is we always check and focus on my region kind of a paper which came. But what about the remaining 5 regions questions? So please prepare your students accordingly, that you have seen the kind of questions which are coming in different regions as well. Because this is just a matter of a chance. By luck, your region has got 1 papers, as some was mentioning. In my region, it was the toughest paper. And in some region, the paper was comparatively easier. Next year, the situation may change. So we should be aware of a kind of a papers which are coming in all the regions, including the foreign as well. So I'll be sharing the link of those papers also, though I have put in all the WhatsApp groups, but the direct link will be also shared with you. So when we talk about real numbers, so I'll quickly show you a few sample questions which are really important, and more focus on the questions like this, the last 2. I will be sharing that with you. So please, no worries. All these question samples will be shared with you. So for each chapter, there are about 10, 12 questions, kind of a selection is there. So BELP type of a problem where we take the LCM. Generally, we have such questions in the board examination. And yes, generally set from this chapter, we cannot expect, but we had the case study based question as well. From polynomials, generally the graph is given, writing the number of zeros, and the questions like this. Find a quadratic polynomials whose zeros are 6 and -3. Find the zeros of such polynomial. So splitting the middle term, a lot of good practice must be given. And the questions like this, the last 2 shown at the bottom. Find the zeros of such polynomial and verify the relationship between the zeros and the coefficients. Please note that first step, if a student is not able to use the splitting the middle term, so he or she will not be able to solve it further. So ample practice of splitting the middle term should be given. Then even we had one of the question like this in case study based. Again, our focus is not on the solution part, but yes, what type of questions are coming. And please believe me on that, because last year the syllabus was changed, and last year and this year syllabus is actually the same. So what does that mean? Paper pattern will be the same. Last year also it was announced, but NCERT was the older one. The only change is we have a new NCERT. So there are certain apprehensions. Please follow CBSE curriculum, because CBSE is the examination body. It's not the NCERT. NCERT is recommended to be followed, but you can always have seen such a lot of different type of questions which are a part of examination for years. But yes, they are not given in your NCERT textbook, neither in the older one or even in the new edition. So such type of questions are required to be practiced. And then in pair of linear equations, digit problems, and I was talking about this question specifically. Right. So as far as the curriculum is mentioned, therein according to that, this is not in our syllabus, but this is taken from the last year one of the region sample paper only. So please take care of such questions. And then infinite number of solutions, getting the value of A and B. And then draw the graph of the following equations, like that type of a simple questions. And recall such type of questions when we have 217x plus 131y is 913. When we add two equations, subtract two equations. So such type of questions are also required. So please look at the sample questions which are mentioned on your screen. So what the case study type of a question also from the pair of linear equations, the direct type of a question. When we talk about the quadratic equations, so in quadratic equation, now if you check out this first question, so according to me, this should not be asked in the examination. The reason being, in a statement, they are using a term third. And third is not in our syllabus, at least for the past 10 years. All right. So this question could have been avoided. But yes, if 5 plus root 7, then 5 minus root 7. We teach such type of questions. So that was not difficult and challenging for the students to attempt such question. And these are the favorite type of questions, the bottom one. Check out the following few more questions. So another variety of questions which are asked every year, right? Finding a quadratic equation rules are alpha square plus beta square, or 1 by alpha plus 1 by beta, and so on. So give the ample practice of such questions to your students. And then I was talking about the following type of word problems. Check this out. Two water taps. So tap wali problems and motorboat, wherein we have the upstream and downstream. So such type of questions in quadratic equation can definitely be asked, and they are usually coming actually. Then we have the questions like this. Again, the bottom one, pipe worry problem. So such type of questions are usually coming in the examination. Again, formation of quadratic equation based problem as a case study. In AP, The usual type of questions are expected. In AP, one thing is important to note. In class 11th now, earlier we used to have AP in class 11th, but now this is deleted from class 11th. So the paper setter, this is my personal opinion and thinking, that paper setter have no option now to ask such type of questions related in class 11th and 12th. So they may give the questions which were the part of class 11th. Some questions definitely. Likewise, if you look at the following question, ratio type problems, and even I will show in the next slide. So such type of questions definitely are going to be asked from AP. Explain the double answer type problems and this type of questions. So in 11th class, we used to talk about the question given at the bottom. So such type of questions have more probability now to be asked in class 10th itself. Getting the negative term of AP, that's a usual idea. Log problem, only the values will be changed, and case study based. Yeah, I think the ma'am was talking about this specific question. So we'll look into that and we'll discuss later. In coordinate geometry, there is no confusion. Usual curriculum is there. Usual type of questions which are coming for years, they will be there. So I'll skip on that because a lot of other things actually I wanted to share, and I'm now looking at the watch. It's already 6:40. So I'll skip on few questions. I'll be sharing this file with you. And in triangles, the common type of a question, state and prove BPD theorem. And generally, we expect the questions coming from the NCERT textbook only. Generally, we have from triangles, the questions from NCERT textbook only. So here are a few more sample questions. When you look at the question itself, we have a clear idea. Okay, these are your standard questions being asked usually in the board examination. And in circles, again, the standard type of questions. Yeah. So this theorem is asked lot many times in different regions. So give the ample practice of such questions to your kids. And in trigonometry, now here you will see a different type of questions which are coming. Likewise, this question. So this is not a regular type of a question, but you can always expect. And of course, I've taken all these questions from the board examination only. So this is from your NCERT book only. This is a standard question. Simple type of identities are there. And though this is a standard question, but not in NCERT. And look at the following question. The three angles are involved. So this is competency based problem, wherein a child need to think about A plus B plus C is 180-degree as well. So these are our usual type of problems which are coming in the examination. Again, standard type of questions. Usual problems. Now, this is a different kind of a question. If you check out this question, the third one which I mentioned just now. So this is a technique based problem. If a child is not aware of the technique to be used, one cannot solve this question directly. In height and distance, of course, a lot of varieties are there. So word problems based on height and distance are expected. So look at the type of questions which are on your screen. Area related to circles. Again, okay. Let me go back and check out this question, the bottom one. The question is direct, but if you read the language carefully, find the area of unshaded region. Normally, what we used to do, we find out the shaded area and we give that as an answer. So one need to read the question carefully and understand that too. That unshaded region area is only asked here. So these are the usual type of problems. Sometimes we have on both the sides the semicircle is being drawn. In surface area and volume, I was talking about this question. So though we have conversion of one solid to another solid is not in our syllabus. But if you check out the question like this, water is flowing at the following rate. So in this type of a question, we are actually at the back end using the same working rule. So that type of questions are coming in different regions, give the ample practice. You can check out this one more question, similar question. Again, these are your standard formula based problems. Students are really struggling in learning, remembering those formulas. So they need to find out the strategies, how they can learn the formulas. Okay, I'll skip on these few questions now quickly and come to the next part of this presentation. In stats, we have the usual question. Likewise, the second one. So we need to use the empirical formula. And in stats, if you can see this particular question, the length, it's 126 and 127. So make it uniform and then only one is able to solve this question. So sometimes getting the value of P and Q. Here it's based on a median. We have the question based on mean and mode also. In case of probability, usual type of questions are coming. So these are your case study based, not difficult and challenging as such. Yeah. So what I'll do in between, let me now quickly share the link to this presentation. So please make a note of this. I have just shared what link with you, the drive link. So it will provide you with the presentation which I was showing it to you. So kind of a questions you'll be getting. Yeah, give me 1 second. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen once again. Okay. Next is you all are aware of the CBSE sample paper, that pattern. I will be sharing that one link also, wherein I was talking about the last year paper, right? So that is very, very important for us to know that we have the questions for all the regions available at this CBSE website. The only challenge is how to locate this. So that's a big challenge actually for most of us. So I'm sharing that link with you in a chat box. Now quickly check it out. The compartment paper and last year paper highly recommended. So when I click on this, you will check out this class 10th. When I click on this, you will be able to download all the papers of mathematics standard and mathematics basic from here for all the regions. For all 6 different regions, they are available. Same way, question paper for examination 2023, last year paper, all the papers are available over here. So you can always download and give those papers directly for to your students for practice. So must do topics. So now this is kind of a must do topics for each chapter. If a student is struggling, a low achiever, then it is recommended that proof of irrationality, that is very, very important. Student must practice. And then in case of polynomials, sum and product of zeros. And then in pair of linear equations in 2 variables, we have solving for xy. That type of questions are also important. In quadratic equation, finding discriminant and nature of roots of a quadratic equation. In AP, usual type of problems. If a student is struggling, then of course in that case sum to n terms may be avoided. Direct questions can be taught, but if there are the indirect problems, students may not be able to solve that. In triangles, proof of Thales or our BPT theorem is required. Coordinate geometry, all the topics. Introduction to trigo, it is recommended. All the type of problems may be done by the student. Applications of trigonometry is vast when we talk about the height and distance problems, right? So if a student is able to understand the basic idea, and fortunately if the direct question is coming, student can be able to attempt that. In case of circle theorem, this theorem is very, very important. And area related to circles may area of a sector and specifically area of a segment, that is coming every year. Surface area and volume, if students are able to learn, and they should learn the formulas, and then this chapter is very, very important. Probability, finding probability based on coin, card and dice situation. And in case of stats, usual your mean, median and mode. So such type of questions are usually coming, very, very important. Again, we are looking at say case study based questions. So there is one website where I found few good ideas of the case study based question. I'm just sharing that link with you so that you can check out this web link as well. Now I'll come to the time management part, that how to attempt the question paper by the student, right? So in that case, we have a paper for 3 hours, so 15 minutes plus 15-minute reading time. So reading time should be utilized properly. First thing, the formulas which are coming in every question, student can come, just revise those formulas. They are not allowed to write anything on the question paper, but at least they can highlight the keywords. Second thing, there are the options questions, choice questions. So a student can keep bring that in their mind, that what type of question they are more comfortable with. Then talking about the very short answer, 5 questions. If 2 minutes are given to each, 10 minutes. Even for MCQ, 30 minutes are okay, but even I am preferring and giving say 10 minutes extra as a buffer time for this. For 3 marker question, there are the 6 question. If 5 minutes are given to each question, 30 minutes will be there plus 5 minutes extra. 5 marker, 4 question. If 10 minutes are even given, 40 minutes, that's more than enough time. And then for finally case-based question, only 3 questions. But even if we get 12 minutes to each question, that is 36 minutes plus 9 minutes extra. So 45 minutes. If a student follows this particular rule and pattern, he or she will be able to complete the paper in 2 hours 40 minutes. Still 20 minutes or at least say 10 minutes are left for revision. So revision time is very, very crucial, and no doubt paper will be lengthier, little bit lengthier. We have 38 questions, so we expect a little bit lengthier paper. I will be sharing the feedback on participation certificate, link certificate after 10 minutes. So please stay connected. Points which are kept in mind while preparing the marking scheme, because I'm a part of marking scheme committee for years and associated with CBSE. So what are the thought process and how we actually check the paper, how it is being distributed? So quickly focusing on few of the points. Marks are distributed, so students should not leave any question unattempted. And in very short answer, here it's referring to the MCQ based question. So no method, no formula, no solution is required for MCQ based question. Only the correct answer is required. Please note that only the correct answer is required. Alternate methods are always acceptable, but generally the problem is in class 12 when students actually use the IIT JEE shortcut methods. So in 10th, generally this type of problem do not occur. But even if there is a different alternative approach, I always prefer to give the full mark. But I have met certain teachers who do not appreciate that. In our marking scheme, very front page, it is clearly categorically that if a student is using some different approach, and if that is correct, please give full credit and divide the weightage accordingly. But even some teachers, I don't know why they don't agree with that. But anyway, you should appreciate the alternative methods if they are correct. If question is copied wrong, then 0 marks. This is official by CBSE. But sometimes we teachers are human beings. We know if a student is using the correct approach, question is wrong, but method is correct, we sometimes tend to give few marks. It's all up to you. In question, if the question is repeatedly attempted, then marks for the first attempt are given. Sometimes students try to play smart. So first, let's say they have attempted question number 27 on page number 5. And after 10 pages, because they know the solution, they attempt that question again. We are doing the caging. So we all know that, of course, we'll be crossing the second solution. If a child attempt both the choices of the same question, then first attempt is only marked. And few quick tips on how to attempt the paper. Alternative solutions are allowed. Try to avoid the shortcuts. Start with part B, C, or D if possible. And this is my personal recommendation. I generally prefer that students should not start with the MCQ based questions or the case study based question. The reason, what I have observed, if a student start with MCQ based question, they had 10, 12 chapters, different ideas are there. There is a certain reasoning question as well. And students want to impress the paper checker. So they give the complete explanation. After every answer, they draw one line. And generally girls are doing that. But yes, this is happening. I have seen that. So that's the reason to save on that time. Let the child start paper with B, C, or D. But yes, if the paper is just started with section C, it is recommended that all the questions of section C must be attempted in a one go. If a child is not able to solve one specific question, 1 or 2 pages can be left blank for that. That's absolutely okay. Already mentioned, utilize 15-minute reading time. Practice from past year CBSE paper and especially compartment papers and the sample papers. So as already mentioned in the beginning, CBSE released 2+1 sample paper. That one was a practice paper. So that can be avoided. Only the students who are the high achievers, they must do that paper. But on an average, for a average student, only 2 general sample papers are sufficient. And finally, attempt at least 10 full length syllabus paper once the syllabus is completed in the school. Definitely we are all doing now pre-board 1. In some of the schools, pre-board 2 must be going on, or they are going to start. So I humbly request and suggest that you should convey to your students that, I mean, there is no personal recommendation from my side. Even if it is Arihan sample book, even it is MTG, even it is together with EduCard or maybe Exam Idea or Oswald, all are equally good and wonderful books. So child can follow any one of the book, and then they need to attempt those 10 sample papers. And what is the strategy? What I always recommend. Generally, the student have now a tendency that they usually study at the late night and sleep in the morning. They wake up at 1 afternoon, right? So it is generally happening if they have no school. The board examination, the paper will begin at 10 a.m. So let they adjust their body clock accordingly. So let them, they sit for the paper in one go with no break, no mobile phone, nothing of notebooks are available with them, and they start attempting that sample paper in one go. And they may take 10-15 minutes extra in the beginning, because I personally recommend, even if there is a choice question, they should attempt both the parts. And if you can check the paper, or there's a tutor, or there is someone who can evaluate that paper, and if the child can have done the self-assessment, that is essentially required. It is possible that in the beginning, a child may score only, say, 30 marks out of 80. But next paper, he or she may score 33, next 35, next 40, next 50. Generally, you will see there will be gradual improvement in the marks. The graph will always follows an increasing function path as such. So common tips: read and understand the question carefully, try to attempt the paper in 2 hours 40 minutes, and keep 20 minutes for revision time. Take care of case study based question, and it is not essential to attempt all the questions in the proper order, and one can revise from NCERT and NCERT exemplar as well. But take care of the deleted portion, because in NCERT exemplar, it's the older one only. From the deleted topics also we have the question. And even if you have created your own personalized assignments, please do discuss, do share with your student as well. And these are the common things we always used to tell our student: avoid silly mistakes, make a list of all formulas handy for your ready reference, especially mensuration. In question related to graph and geometry, use pencil and ruler. Since there is a stepwise marking, so don't leave any question unattempted. This is very, very important, right? Sometimes you just imagine a situation. You are a paper checker, you receive one paper, and the student is scoring 23 marks. You always want that if it is possible to give 1 or 2 or 3 marks to that student. As a human being, we always try to do that, right? Unofficially, of course, yes. But yes, if by giving 2 marks a student 1 year can be saved, we always do that. But student must have written something. We cannot give mark on the blank sheet. So if you have some students like this, and please believe me, it's everywhere. In every school we have such students. Even in my school we have a lot of such students. In your school, I am sure, and when I talk to all the teachers around globally and India, so they all are struggling, and we, believe me, we all are sailing in the same boat, right? So no worries. Yes, there is a pressure from the principal side, from the management side, that yes, the student should score good marks. So we are actually giving our best. So hats off to all the math teachers. So we are giving our best. But tell your students that they should not leave any question unattempted. If they write the question, they remember any formula related to that chapter, let them write that, let them attempt that question totally wrong. At least half mark can be given. That's all up to you. But that's a common strategy. Same applicable for MCQ. They should answer those MCQ questions. Should not leave any answer unattempted. Again, I am going to share another link. Give me a second. So another link for you. While you will be filling up your feedback form, so here is the feedback form which is now being shared just now. So check out your chat box. So I have shared the feedback form over here. So please take 2 minutes, fill up this feedback form, and then you will receive your participation certificate in your inbox directly. So please fill in the feedback form. Believe me, I'm not feeling good about this, what has happened in the beginning. Some of the people who are not educationists and they join the session and they start disturbing the whole session. So this is not good, but yes, we have to be prepared mentally for the same situation always. So please fill in the feedback form. And let me even check out. Mini Dasji has received her certificate as well. So few teachers have started filling up the form. So Bijender Singh Rana ji has received the certificate. So you can check out your inbox, your email ID, Jasprit Sethi ji. You must have received your certificate, or it will take hardly 5 minutes. Even if you don't receive your participation certificate right now, you will be getting it by tonight. So there will be one link. I'm going to share that. So you will be getting your certificate in that as well. So Pankaj ji, Rajinder ji, Sonia Verma ji, Deepthi ji. So I could see many certificates are released. Bharti Bansal ji. So please fill in the feedback form. And after few minutes only, I will allow you to unmute yourself, so that if there are any open question, I would really love to answer that. I'm really feeling very bad, but I could see a lot of hand raised, but I'm not able to, not wish to unmute all of you as of now. Give me some time. Please get that feedback form and stay connected. Yeah, thank you very much for joining in for today's session. I'm now ending the recording, and now if you have any open question, you can always ask.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Wait for a second.